Hi guys, Danny here, and welcome to my mod review of the mod Engineer's Toolbox by eMasher. Engineer's Toolbox is an industrial mod that features fully customizable machines that you can design and build yourselves. So without delay, let's get started. Before looking at the different modules or the different machine builds, there's a few items we have to go over. This is the modular socket. The modular socket is like the building block of this mod. You can use the modular socket and then attach different modules to it to create different machines. This is a redstone wand. You can use the redstone wand to send out temporary redstone signals. This is a socket remote. Using the socket remote, you can change the different modes of the different modules, which I'll be showing in a little bit. And the engineer's wrench. The engineer's wrench you can use to take off the different modules out of the modular socket or to pick up the modular socket as an item. We also have the fluid pipe, which is used to send along different liquids to all the different machines that you can make, and the flux pipe, which you can use to send power to all the different machines you can make. The power is in the form of redstone flux, which, if you guys don't know, originated from thermal expansion. Every modular socket has 3 internal single stack inventories, 3 tanks, 3 redstone channels, and 3 redstone latches channels. And like I mentioned before, every modular socket also has a flux capacitor that can hold 5000 redstone flux. You can change between the different channels or the different tanks or the different inventories by using the remote. If you see the little circle on the remote that tells you what mode it's on, currently it's on the tank select mode. With the tank select mode, you can choose the different tanks. Every tank has a storage of 8 buckets, and you can see by this little bar down here what tank it's on. If I right click, now it went to the 3rd tank. If I right click again, now it's selecting no tank. If I right click once, that's the 1st tank. Now if I take some water and put it in the tank like so, you can see that the water is in the tank. And now if I right click with the socket remote, it went to the 2nd tank, and as you can see now it's empty because the water was actually in the 1st tank, not the 2nd tank. I click it again and the 3rd tank is also empty. I click it again, no tank, and if I click it for the last time, you can see that the water is there because, like I said, the water was in the 1st tank. I can also use the engineer's wrench to take out the module like so. As you can see, now the module's off. I can take the tank interface, put it back, and if I select the 1st tank again, you'll see the water is still in it. That's because the water or the different items are actually stored inside the modular socket and not in the modules themselves. Like the tank, I can also use the remote to select the different inventories that are inside the modular socket. As you can see, there is no inventory currently selected, but if I was to right click, the first one would light up, therefore indicating that it's in the 1st inventory. Now if I right click with an item, I can store it inside, as you see there. If I right click again, I get the item back. But if I put the item in there and then use the socket remote to change the channel, now it's in the 2nd inventory, and now I can't take back my socket because it is not in the 2nd inventory. If I was to click again in the 3rd inventory, again I can't take out my socket because my socket was in the 1st inventory. Right click again, select no inventory, and right click for the last time, and you see my socket there. I right click and then I get back my socket. Modules may have more than one indicator. As you can see here, for the advanced breaker, this has green, red, and purple, which would be the inventory, the redstone, and the redstone latches. And with the remote, I have selected the 1st inventory, the 1st redstone, and the 1st redstone latch channel. I can just as easily switch it like I showed before. Green meaning the inventory. If I right click, I can switch between 3 inventory. Shift right click, the different redstone channels, and the different redstone channels. The remote also has a few extra modes, like this, the generic mode. The generic mode has different uses according to the different modules. For example, in the block update sensor, you can see that the generic mode toggles the directional mode, and for this, the state cell, the generic mode changes the length of delay. There is also the module lock mode. If you right click with the modular code on, you can see that you're not able to select between the different inventories or the tank interfaces anymore. If you right click again, you can swap between them again. Finally, there is the facade removal mode, which you can use to remove facades. Next, let's look at some basic machine builds. On this modular socket, I have a water intake, tank interface, and a fluid output. I have them all selected in the same tank, as you can see there. First tank there, first tank there. I also have the fluid output on the first tank. And for that reason, water is taken in through the water intake, stored inside the modular socket, and is drawn out by these pipes through the fluid output into the tank there. If I was to select a different tank through there, a different tank would fill up, and then the fluid output would keep outputting until that one tank was completely empty, and then would stop working. If I was to select the first tank again, the fluid output would start outputting again, and the pipes would be full of water. As you can see, I have this ender tank connected by these pipes to this modular socket, and there is a fluid extractor on the bottom of this modular socket that will draw out the water. If I right click there, you can see that the water is being drawn in, and then we can see that the water is starting to fill up on this tank interface. While I'm not actually going to be using up the water, I'm just going to be let it stored in the internal tank. The reason I showed that was to show that you can have multiple things working inside of a modular socket at the same time. As you can see, water is still being drawn. Well, not now anymore because of this is full. But if I was to go here, you can see that this is a grinder here, solar panel up there, and it's completely charged. If I was to put ores inside of here, as you can see, first inventory and first inventory there, the ores would be grinded up and sent through this pipe to this furnace. As you can see, first inventory, and it'll be smelted in the furnace, and it'll be outputted through there and would be stored inside the inventory here. So if I put in the iron ore like so, as you see, the whole stack was put in, and you can see that the redstone flux is slowly being used up, and the grinder is working. As you can see, there is dust traveling through until it reaches there, and now the furnace is working. After the furnace finishes, it should send through an ingot, and there you go. For this build to work, all of the interfaces have to be configured properly. The grinder has to be able to take out ores from the first inventory that is selected, and that is why I have the inventory interface selected to the first one as well. If I put in the ores again, we can see that the grinder starts working again. However, if I was to select the second inventory there, the grinder should stop working because I have nothing inside the second inventory. If I throw it back to the first one, it should start working again. Similarly, I have the input selected to the first inventory, and I also have the furnace on the first inventory. Therefore, the furnace takes items from the first inventory, processes it, and then sends it out to the machine output, and it keeps going until it reaches here. And now I can take out the iron bars like so. If I wanted, I could also put in the ores directly inside of the furnace. If I just throw this in here, as you can see, the first furnace is in the first inventory. Go behind, and I put in the gold ore also in the first inventory. So now what should be happening is the gold bars are being flung out. That is because the item input is selected to the first inventory. However, the first inventory already has its space taken up by iron bars, and you can't have more than a single stack of an item, one item per inventory. However, if I was to go here and select the second inventory, I should see that the gold bar goes in there and gets stored as well. The gold bar is going, and it didn't get thrown out. If I was to go here, select the second one, and there you go, the gold bar. If I go to the first one, you can see the iron. Because I have the first inventory on this modular socket already taken up by the gold ore, you can see that the ground iron ore gets thrown out because there is no space, as the first inventories is already being taken up by the gold ore. However, if I was to go here and take this out manually, there, now that the first inventory is empty, we should be seeing that the ground iron ore goes through. There we go. It should go through and make its way inside the machine, and there you have it. We go back here, we can't see it anymore. That is because the ground ore is being processed by the furnace, and there we have it. Again, it was thrown out because the second inventory has gold inside of it, and the item input here, I have it selected to the second inventory, so the iron bars were thrown out. Here I have a simple cobblestone generator that I made with just this modular socket and lava and water accordingly. On the modular socket I have a breaker which breaks the block in front of it. If I give it a redstone input signal, I have an inventory to take out the cobble, and I have a button there. If I hit the button, the breaker will break the cobblestone in front of it. And store it, and we can see that the cobble is being stored there. There are ways to make this automatic, but now I'm just showing how to make it work by just using a button. To make it work, as you see here, I have the button selected to the first redstone channel, and I have the breaker in the first redstone channel and selected on the first inventory, which I also have the interface here selected to. When I press the button here, the button sends out a redstone signal in the first channel, and then the breaker, being in the first channel as well, activates and breaks the block in front of it. Here I have a modular socket with a couple of inventory interfaces, an energy input, and a freezer. Like the name suggests, the freezer freezes water that is being pumped into it, which I have using this fluid extractor and a tank. Currently the machine isn't working because I don't have enough power. As you can see from the little screen up there, it says 40 out of 5,000. However, if I was to take this flux pipe and connect these two, energy should flow through there, and there you go. The modular socket has 5,000 out of 5,000 redstone flux, and we should see that the freezer is indeed making ice there. And the water is slowly being taken in as well. As we see, the water is slowly being drawn. If I just right click, I can take the ice and place it down and break it accordingly. Next I have this little build to show the capabilities of the multi-input. As you can see that the multi-input can take in fluid, item and energy at the same time. I have the multi-input there, there and there, and I have this pipe from Extra Utilities connected to this transfer node and this chest. Now if I was to go here and put these pipes in here, we can see that the pipes are being taken out. They should be right here. As you see, this modular socket has taken all of the pipes and stored it in its inventory. You can take out some of these pipes and put it there or there, depending on what you like. However, we can also input water into the modular socket through the same module, which would be the multi-input. If I just go here and right click, the water should be being drained out, but all the tanks should be full because I was playing around with it before. However, if I go to tank select and select the second one there, second one there, and second one there, and go to the input and select the second one there, and the second one there, and the second one there, we should start seeing the tanks fill up with water. As you see, water is nearly full there, it's being filled up there, being filled up there. So we saw that both items and water were inputted inside of the modular socket through just one of those modules, which was the multi-input. The multi-input is very handy if you're making very compact builds, so you can put in items, liquid, all inside of the same slot inside a modular socket. Here we have the vacuum. The vacuum sucks up items in front of it when given a redstone signal. If I throw some items in front of it now, we can see that it's not sucking up any of the iron bars there. That is because it's not getting any redstone signal. As you can see there, I have it selected to the first channel, and I also have a redstone input just here. So if I was to go here and throw some redstone iron bars and take the redstone wand and give it a signal like so, we see that the iron bars were taken up. Now if I do it again, however, this time I'm going to connect up this timer, which automatically sends out this redstone signal, and I'm going to connect it to the output like so. Now because of that, the vacuum automatically sucks in all of the different items that falls in front of it. If you see here, you can see that I can modify the length of delay. So if I go to generic mode in my remote and right click, you can see this goes down, and now it's taking longer for it to send out the signals. Click it again, it goes even slower, slower, slower. There you go. Now it's nearly not moving at all. If I was to click again, it goes to the highest, and now it's sending regular signals. So if I was to throw some redstone, it still will not be sucked up because the first inventory is already full of iron bars. However, if I was to select a different inventory like so, you can see that the redstone was sucked up. Go to the second inventory, and there we have it, redstone. So far I've been using only solar panels to power up my machines. However, there are other modules that you can use as well. For example, the piezo electric tile. To use the piezo electric tile, all you need to do is attach it to a modular circuit like so, and then if a mob or animals walk on top of it, power will be generated. As you can see there, slowly going up, 1840 out of 5000, 2320, and so on. The piezoelectric tile is quite risky as well, because the tile, as you see there, the sheep died. That's because it also randomly damages entities that walk on top of it. As we see there, the sheep got damaged. If I just spawn more sheep, a lot of redstone flux should be generated. Now we can only put in 5000 redstone flux in a modular socket. However, if I was to select, say, the advanced energy storage upgrade and put it like so, as you can see, I can now store more power inside of my modular socket. Each one of these guys can hold 10 million extra redstone flux. As you can see now, it's 37,000, 38,000, and so on and so on. Obviously, the advantage the electric tile has over the solar panel is that it keeps working at night, while the solar panel needs a direct line of sight to sky to work. And next we go to the multi-smelter build. Now the multi-smelter is quite important because you use it to make sweet redstone ingots, which are required to make flux pipes. The multi-smelter module works slightly differently to the other ones. If I go here, hold shift, it says input inventory 1, but it's in blue. For the other modules, blue refers to the tank, but for the multi-smelter, blue refers to the first inventory. So as you see here, I have the green selected to 1, which is here. I have the blue selected to 2. Remember, just consider this to be another green. And I have here green selected to 2. So if I take some sugar and some redstone, throw sugar there, and throw redstone there, we see that the machine starts working. And if I take a solar panel and throw it there, it should start producing sweet redstone ingots. It's still working. We give it a second and it should output through the machine output. And there you go. Next we have the kiln. The kiln is used to make quicklime from quicklime dust. Then the quicklime can be used in a multi-smelter, going through some processes for some bonus dusts. To make the kiln, first stack limestone bricks in this fashion, as you see here, 3x3 base, 7 height, and then just put in a modular socket with a kiln module, just like so. And then if you did it correctly, you should see this brown band forming just here. Now the kiln uses a lot of power, so I have supplied energy to it, like so. This is applying a lot of power to it, but I just have it there for demonstration purposes. To use it, all you need to do is put some ground limestone just in front of the kiln, like so. You see it turn yellow, give it some time. And then, there you go. It spits out this quicklime, which, like I said, you can use in a multi-smelter. Now over here, in the multi-smelter build, I just throw in some quicklime with some ground gold ore, like so, and then let it work for a while, and there you go. It produces 3 impure gold dusts. Go back and then put it inside of this centrifuge, like so. The centrifuge works, does its thing, and if I just and there you go, pure gold dust. And next we have the husher build. The husher uses highly pressurized water to mine ore automatically. All you need to do is supply in some water, which I have here. I have it connected to a fluid extractor, which takes in the fluid inside of the modular socket. And then I also have this machine output, because as the items are being mined, they're taking the modular socket and then it passes through the pipes here and then it goes inside the chest. To start the husher, all I need to do is go down here. As you see, number 1 is being selected there. So go back here, select number 1, and there we go. The husher started working. As we see here, the husher uses a lot of water and a fair amount of energy as well. Check here. Now, if I go to generic mode, I can increase the range. If you see now, it's currently being mined. in an area of 1 by 1. If I right click, we can see that the area increases. If I right click again, the area increases again. If I right click to its max, we can see that a wide range is being mined up. However, it's using up its water really quickly, and as soon as we run out of water, it will stop mining. But until that, we've already mined up a lot of sand. And there you go. If I just throw in some more water, and now that it's full of water and at its max range, we can see that it's mining up quite a wide area. It will keep mining until it runs out of water again, which it's gonna be soon. And there you go. But in that time, I've already mined up a lot of sand, and if I was selecting, say, 1 by 1 or 3 by 3, I would have gotten a lot of ores as well. And that's it for part 1 of my mod review of Engineer's Toolbox. If you liked the video, please leave a like or subscribe for more Minecraft videos. Thanks for watching.